Hey everybody, welcome back for another devotion. Today I want to look at Matthew 14:22 through 33. They're a familiar story. After Jesus feeds the 5,000, he goes off to have some time to pray by himself. The disciples get out on the boat, and they're in the middle of the night, on the fourth watch, as the waves are beating against the boat, they see this figure out on the water. Unsure of what it was, they were afraid of who this was, thinking maybe it was even a ghost. But Jesus spoke to them, saying, "Take heart, it is I. Do not be afraid." And Peter answered him, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water." He said, "Come." So Peter got out of the boat and walked on the water and came to Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried out, "Lord, save me." I think this speaks a lot to what we see going on in our world today with the coronavirus. That just as Peter, we know God, we know Jesus, we trust and believe in them, our faith is in them, so much as even Peter was willing to get out and step on the water when Jesus called to him, said, "Come," just as Peter requested. But then he loses focus on Jesus. He saw the wind, he became afraid. And what happens next? He begins to sink. I think that's what's happening in our world right now, maybe for some of us. As we have that faith, we step out of that boat in faith, trusting in Jesus. But then we see what's going on in our world, the coronavirus. We turn on the news and we begin to sink, drowning in fear of what's going on with the coronavirus, which is understandable when you see the different news reports. I know in Illinois yesterday we had another 1,000 people that test results came back positive, our highest in one day total. And it's not good in New York, California, Washington, and Michigan, all these areas. And even here in Illinois, we're being hit pretty hard with cases of coronavirus. And it's worrisome for many people. It's fearful because we're afraid to go out, afraid to even do some of the basic necessities of grocery shopping because you're afraid of coming in contact with somebody with this virus and maybe being the person who will come down with the coronavirus. It's understandable to have these fears. And, even as you turn on the news, it's difficult because depending on the projections you see, some say it's going to be better in a short time, and some project it to be a much longer time, and that the world will never be the same after this pandemic. And it creates a lot of fear. We lose that focus on Christ. We begin to sink. But as Peter was sinking, it says Jesus immediately, notice that says immediately, he reached out his hand to him and took a hold of him. That's what Jesus is doing to us right now. And I love how it says immediately, that as soon as he sees him sinking, he reaches out. Just as he does to you and me, he reaches out. And maybe he does say the same thing about us. "Oh, you of little faith, why did we doubt?" It's our human nature. We're sinful human beings. So we doubt more than we should trust in God. And when they got into the boat, the wind ceased, and those in the boat worshipped him, saying, "Truly, you are the Son of God." Amazing story that they could even recognize he was the Son of God. He calmed the waves. He reached out and rescued Peter there in the water. And that's what he's doing for you and me in this time of fear. He's reaching out saying, "Why do you doubt?" He's in control. God is in control. Jesus has overcome this world through his death and resurrection. So it's just as in the beginning of the story when he says, "Take heart, it is I. Do not be afraid." We have nothing to be afraid of because we have God on our side. We have our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, on our side. We can trust in them. And we can trust that they are here for us to take care of us. And they will always be there. So when you step out of that boat, keep that focus on Christ. Keep that focus on God. And even if you do lose that focus, they'll be there reaching out for you to rescue you because they always will be there for you because God is Emmanuel, God with us. Thank you and God bless.